puede detenerse. Tus sueños no. Elige bien. Elige UPB.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to be here this afternoon. My name is Maria del Pilar Uribe. I am here on behalf of Centro Colombo, and I am really happy to participate in this International Week here at UPB University. Today, I want to talk to you about, if not my favorite, one of my favorite movie makers ever. His name is Tim Burton, and I would like to share with you everything I know about this great film director and his world, his characters, his aesthetics, and why he became what he has become, one of the best movie makers in the world. So the title of my presentation is Burton's Quirky Gothic World. So this is Tim Burton when he was a child. His full name is Timothy William Burton, and he was born in Burbank, California, on the 25th of August, 1958. This child was unlike other children. This child grew up watching horror movies. His mother was quite busy and she was never around, but his father was actually very indulgent and he was very happy to watch horror movies with his 7-year-old kid. Apparently, Tim Burton has said that he was never afraid of these movies. His father would say, "Oh my God, I had a nightmare last night after that movie," but he never felt scared of these horror movies. This is what he said in an interview. He said, "I grew up watching monster movies. My parents told me before I could walk or talk that I always loved monsters. I was never afraid of them, always related to them. And I think as everybody, depending on their upbringing, gravitates to something, I gravitated towards monsters because I felt connected to them somehow." So the reason why he felt connected to monsters was because he saw himself as a weird kid. He felt that other people saw him as a weird kid. He has said in multiple interviews that at school nobody liked him. And the reason for that is that he had this different vision of monsters. Most kids didn't have that vision because most kids didn't watch these horrible, scary pictures. But for Tim, monsters was what he loved. So this is a fantastic picture of Tim Burton on a Halloween day dressed up as this character. His mother actually made the costume for him because she knew that he really loved monsters. So this is a fantastic picture if you think about what he then created when he was an adult. So I thought I would show you this great trick-or-treat picture of Tim Burton that people don't really see very often, but I found it, so I wanted to show you that. So because he grew up watching these movies with his brother, he and his brother started doodling. And guess what he drew? Obviously, monsters, because that's what he loved. So from a very early age, he started doodling. Like I said, his mother was busy, and this kid didn't have many friends because nobody liked him at school. So when you grow up in that kind of atmosphere where you don't really have friends to play with, you kind of focus your energy and your desires into what you like most. And for Tim Burton, it was definitely drawing monsters. So here are some examples of his doodles. Yeah, scary movies. Well, this is what he grew up watching since a very early age, I think 7 years old. These were adult movies, but at the time, before all these music video channels, this is what they showed on TV. These films were shown in the evening. And so, like I said, his father was very happy to watch these films with him. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with these movies, but they are from the 1930s onwards. The first one is called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. The second one is Nosferatu. The third one is Dracula. And of course, Frankenstein, which it's a character that really struck a chord with Tim Burton, and you will see why afterwards. The first two movies belong to a very special movement in art that stemmed from Germany. So maybe I should talk about that as well. But I'm going to move on to the next slide. Oh, yeah, here it is. The name of this movement is German Expressionism. First, maybe I'd like to tell you what it is. It is an artistic genre broadly defined as the rejection of Western conventions and the depiction of reality that is widely distorted for emotional effect. So these actors were actually encouraged to distort their faces and show real emotion, which didn't happen before. It was an early 20th century German art movement that emphasized the artist's inner feelings or ideas over replicating reality. So they were encouraged again to actually show their feelings on camera. At first, the Expressionist movement was confined to Germany due to the isolation the country experienced during World War I. In 1916, the German government had banned all foreign films, so there was a demand for theaters to generate films made in Germany. So as you can imagine, if people couldn't watch any more American movies, they had to create their own movies. And again, because they had had a horrible war that left the country devastated, this is the kind of art that came after the war. Maybe the next thing that I would like to tell you is about the influence that all of these movies that he watched from a very early age had on his artistry and his aesthetics and what he wanted to create when he became an adult. So if you look at films like Nosferatu, you can definitely see the influence on then Vincent, which was Tim Burton's second movie. You can see the distorted figures, you can see the shadows, because in German Expressionism, shadows played a big part in cinema. Here we have Metropolis, which was a 1927 German movie that showed how devastated the country was left with after the war. Here we have Batman Returns, which it's a great film. I love that movie. It's very, very Tim Burton. And as you can see, there are a lot of similarities. So this is again Metropolis, and then Batman Returns, and you can definitely see the similarity in the aesthetics in both films because he was heavily influenced by German Expressionism. Metropolis, again, as you can see, it was a big influence on this guy. Metropolis is a great film, but it's, I think, 3 hours long. It's a very long film. It's a silent film, but it's definitely a great watch. And yeah, Tim Burton loved it. And in Batman Returns, you see a lot of Metropolis actually in it. So this is the cabinet of Dr. Caligari, and this is Vincent, which was Tim Burton's second movie. You can see that they look very much the same. And I also think that this guy from the cabinet of Dr. Caligari also looks like Edward Scissorhands a bit. And then again, the architecture, the shadows, the light, they are very, very similar. Right. So after graduating from high school, Burton attended the California Institute of the Arts to study character animation. That's something that was clear. That's what he wanted to do. And then Disney actually had a scholarship going on at the time at the Institute of Arts in California. And so he won the scholarship to study. It was actually, it was an expensive school, and he was talented enough to win the scholarship. When he was at university, at college, he created his first short film. It was called The Stalk of the Celery Monster. Someone who was at school with him actually helped him to actually create the movie. This is what he drew. And so with this classmate, they created the animated movie. When they actually showed the movie to all the classmates and teachers, everybody actually applauded, and he got a standing ovation. And so for the first time ever, he realized that he was probably good at what he was doing at the time. So then Disney Studio said, "We want you, come and work for us." So he dropped out of school, and then he started working at Disney Studio, which, as you can imagine, must have been so thrilling for young Tim Burton, who at the time was only 20 years old. But there was a problem. And the problem was that what he had to draw for Disney movies was really cute characters. And that's not really what he was into. Remember, he was into monsters. So soon he got disappointed, actually, although he was working for Disney Studio, one of the biggest Disney studios in Hollywood. Actually, he wasn't too happy. So he created some characters for these movies, The Fox and the Hound, and also for The Black Cauldron. When he was told that he would have to draw for The Black Cauldron, because that sounded more gothic and scary and monstery-like, he was excited, and he produced amazing drawings like this one. But for Disney Studios, that was not good enough. They thought it was too creepy. They thought that it would scare children. And so, unfortunately, all of these beautiful drawings were shelved and stored. So again, he grew very disappointed. All right, enter Vincent Price. Well, this guy He was an actor. Um, he was also an art collector. He was a very interesting character, but Tim Burton really, really liked his movies. This guy was the villain in a lot of horror movies from the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. So Tim Burton adored this guy. He literally loved him and he wanted to be like him when he grew up. He dreamed about being an actor and playing really scary, scary characters. So he really, really loved Vincent Price. You may not be familiar with this guy, but I want you to listen to this because, yeah, I'm talking about the 1950s and 60s and 70s, and maybe you have no idea about these movies, but I'm going to play this, and I'm sure you will recognize this.
Darkness falls across the land. The midnight hour is close at hand. Creatures crawl in search of blood to terrorize your neighborhood. And whosoever shall be found without the soul for getting down must stand and face the hounds of hell and rot inside a corpse's shell. The foulest stench is in the air, funk of 40,000 years, and grisly ghouls from every tomb in to seal your doom. And though you fight to stay alive, your body starts to shiver. For no mere mortal can resist evil.
Sorry. Okay, so I am sure you will remember this guy now. He was obviously a great collaborator with other artists like Michael Jackson. So Tim Burton completely adored this guy, and he was a huge influence in his artistry. Oh, what? Sorry, I did something wrong. Right. Maybe I should use the computer then. There we are. Okay. So here you have Vincent Price again in one of his great movies. I think this was one called, actually I have the name right here, maybe House on Haunted Hill. That's the name of the movie. And like I said, Tim used to love watching this guy in all of these great movies that he made. Right, so I'm not gonna show you this, but I would love to invite you to watch this. I've been told that I can't show it, but it's actually his first complete movie that he made himself. The name of the movie is Vincent. This movie is fantastic. It's only 5 minutes long, and in this film, he basically showed the love for Vincent Price, and he also showed how he felt isolated as a child. The movie is about a child called Vincent Malloy, whose mother didn't pay attention to, and who had a great imagination. And in the short clip, you can actually see Tim Burton himself and how he felt as a child, being a loner and being isolated and believing that no one liked him and feeling like a freak. So it's a great film. I was hoping we could watch it, but I was told I can't. But I would love it if you could watch it at home. It's only 5 minutes long, and it's a great movie. and the name is Vincent. Luckily, with this movie, Disney was happy, and so they decided to show it in some theaters, but people didn't really appreciate it at the time, and so again, it was shelved. It didn't gain the success that he was hoping for. So one more time, disappointing for Tim Burton, unfortunately. Yeah, there's something wrong with this, so I'll use my hand instead on the computer. So yeah, disappointment, because he felt that people didn't really see his art, and he believed that he had something to show, but unfortunately, the two films he had made were not shown across America as he wanted, and so that's what came after, disappointment. And as you can see, he was so young. We are talking about a 23-year-old guy, working for Disney Studios. This is his third film. The name of the film is Frankenweenie, because of his influence by Frankenstein. Frankenweenie is a great film. It basically talks about a child whose dog dies because he's run over by a car, and he is very, very upset about that. And at school, in his science project, he learned how to make people, not people, animals alive again. And so he decided to try it at home with his dead dog, and yeah, it came alive once again. And so it was a great movie, but again, Disney thought it was too creepy for young children to watch. And then again, it was shelved. More disappointment for young Tim Burton. Now, this is the breakthrough. So enter Paul Reubens. Paul Reubens was a comedian who had a highly successful TV show called Pee-wee. And he actually saw Vincent and Frankenweenie, and he thought, wow, this guy is seriously talented. I want him to direct my movie. So he gave Tim Burton his first big chance at making a feature film. And luckily, it was a great success. People loved it, and it put Tim Burton on the map of cinema for the first time. Afterwards, he only wanted to take jobs with people who had great scripts. So I think it was 2 years before he made this fantastic movie, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is a great, great character. He's a ghost, and he basically scares the people in the family, in the house where he lives. And Tim Burton really wanted to create something that would show his aesthetic. And so when you see this movie, you can definitely see all of this influence of German Expressionism. It's a great movie. It's actually a comedy. And he convinced famous actors to actually work in this film, which was a big achievement. So you can see people like Gina Davis, and I forgot his name now, sorry. His name is Michael Keaton. Thank you very much. Okay, so then Batman. Batman became the first movie in history to take in $100 million in the first 10 days of its release. So this was Tim Burton's biggest success to date. This movie was very well received, both commercially and critically. and people really admired what he did with the new Batman. At first, people didn't really like the idea of Michael Keaton playing Batman, and the studio received more than 50,000 letters from fans saying that Michael Keaton wasn't Batman. But because he had already worked with him in Beetlejuice, he put his foot down and he said, well, this is my Batman, whether you like it or not. And luckily for us, he got his way, and he made Batman with Michael Keaton, who I think is one of the greatest Batmans in all of this Batman franchise. So luckily for everybody, we had Michael Keaton in 2 Batman movies. Then comes, this is my all-time favorite film, Edward Scissorhands. It was his most personal project to date, a film recalling his adolescent feelings of loneliness. When you see Edward Scissorhands, you see somebody who is actually good, but is perceived by everybody as a monster, as a freak. But he is actually an innocent person. And this is how he felt when he was growing up. He grew up in suburbia, in which all houses looked the same and everything was beautiful. And so he was frowned upon. He was basically looked at as a freak child and teenager. And so with this film, he wanted to show how he felt as a teen. And it's a fantastic movie because it really shows how frail you can be when others try to bully you and to make you seem weird and a freak, when all you want to do is get along with everybody and all you want to do is be able to love. And it's about people not accepting you and how that feels. So it's a fantastic movie. It's a really awesome picture, and the acting is incredible. And then again, it's very Tim Burton in the way the setting looks. And I highly recommend this movie. Obviously, we have Johnny Depp, who after this movie, as you probably know, had a long life collaboration with Tim Burton. When I was doing the research for this presentation, I saw Tim Burton in an interview when he was asked why he wanted Johnny Depp in a lot of his pictures. And he said, well, one of the things I like about Johnny Depp is that he's not obsessed with looking at himself in the monitor like other actors. So that saves time. I thought that was really funny. But then obviously he's a great actor. He is a great, great actor as well. And they connected also because of music. He is a musician as well. And apparently Tim Burton used to go and see him play live. So they became very good friends. Why is Prince Vincent Price here again? Oh yeah, of course. Because Tim Burton was lucky enough to be able to hire Vincent Price, his beloved actor, to play the creator of Edward in the movie. So Vincent Price plays the role of the man who invented or created Edward Scissorhands. And so imagine how he must have felt when he convinced this incredible actor who he had grown up admiring to actually participate in his movie. It was one of the best times for Tim Burton so far. I don't think I actually mentioned that for the film Vincent, it is actually Vincent Price who narrates the 5-minute film. So yeah, he has been lucky enough to be able to collaborate with Vincent Price. Obviously, Vincent Price always thought that Tim Burton was seriously talented, and that's why he happily accepted to be part of this movie. Batman Returns. I love this character of Catwoman. She's fantastic. She is so great, all nice and gothic. Like its predecessor, it was a box office hit, albeit criticism from parents and consumer groups who objected to the director's sinister and violent vision. So he has had that throughout his career. Parents and consumer groups have always thought that he's very creepy. But that's what makes him so different from any other director out there. And so it's really amazing that he has not backed down from what he is for money. He has always made sure that his artistry shows in any project that he gets into. So again, this movie was very, very successful. The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's a great film. It's for children. And guess what? Yes, parents said it was too creepy, but children absolutely love this movie. His name is Jack, the main character. It's a great, great film for both adults and children. I highly recommend this movie. Then came Ed Wood. Ed Wood was a film director who was actually a transvestite. He grew up wanting to make pictures, and recently he was actually dubbed the worst film director ever, and that has made people watch his films, and that perception is actually changing. Tim Burton decided to make this picture, and although critics lauded the movie, for the first time ever, a Tim Burton film had lost money. So it was a critical success. The actor, one of the actors, actually won an Oscar for his performance, but unfortunately, it didn't make any money. And then for the producers, that's not good. Then came Mars Attacks. This film, no one knows about. It neither impressed critics nor captured audiences. However, it has become a cult film, and so any fan of Tim Burton has to see this movie too. After the fiasco of his last two movies, he then decided to do some writing, because this guy, he can't stop doing what he loves doing. So he decided to create a children's book. The name is The Melancholy Death of Oyster Boy and Other Stories. It was highly, highly successful. Everybody loved it. And then it was the first time that he had actually tried writing and selling his book. And he did very, very well. Well, here we have some of the most iconic characters in the world of Tim Burton. These are the next films that he made over the next years. The first one is Sleepy Hollow, then Planet of the Apes. After that is Big Fish, obviously Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Corpse Bride, Sweeney Todd, The Devil, Demon of Fleet Street, then Alice in Wonderland, and Dark Shadows. As you can see, Johnny Depp is in a lot of them. They were great friends. They have always been great friends, and Johnny Depp is a great actor. finally, these are his latest movies, Frankenweenie, which is actually the animated feature, because remember I told you the first one was too creepy, and so he made the animated feature, and this was actually highly successful. Then Big Eyes, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, and Dumbo. A lot of fans didn't really like Dumbo very much. I thought it was really good. I saw it with my son, and we both loved it. But I have heard reviews in which people think that it didn't show Tim Burton in at his best. But again, it's a great movie. So here we have some of the iconic characters that this fantastic guy has created and that will forever live, and that our younger generations will be able to enjoy. So this is the man today. I don't really know how old he is, but this is what he looks like today. And well, that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you liked the world of Tim Burton, and I would really like to entice you with this presentation to go ahead and watch his movies. He is absolutely great. He's extremely talented, and if you see a Tim Burton movie, you will never forget it. That's for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maria del Pilar. Prior to finishing of the lecture and the presentation, we have a question from a UPB student.
Right. I think the success is the fact that he has never given up what he is in his essence. He grew up watching these monster movies, and he always drew monsters, and he always thought, I want to be an actor and I want to act monsters. And so he never gave up what he was inside, which is a freak. He felt at school that he was a freak because that's how other people made him feel. And so he really channeled all that anger, because imagine if somebody treats you like a freak, you must feel anger. He was very isolated as a child and as a teenager. He had no friends, basically. And so the fact that he channeled all of that anger through drawing and then through film is, I think, what makes him what he is. And the fact that he never gave up all of his crazy, quirky ideas is what has made him so successful. Because if you see a movie by Tim Burton, you know it is a movie by Tim Burton. It has made him completely different from any other directors out there. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for attending the presentation. I hope to see you soon again.